My dad was one of the best people that I know. He always made me laugh. He always pushed me to be the best person that he knew I could be based on who I wanted to be, not who he thought I should be. And he was always laughing. I remember his laugh more than I remember just about anything else about him. In 2015, my dad passed away from a massive stroke. And the night that he passed away, I wasn't at home. I was supposed to go home that night and I ended up staying out. And the grief and the burden that placed on me was large because I thought if I had gone home, something would have been different. In April of 2016, I accepted a career change and I packed all my things up and I moved away. In my eyes, it was healthy. It was the next step in grieving my dad. I was starting a new job in a new career field. So realistically, in my eyes, I was just starting over. Time passed on and things were going good, and then things were just the same. I needed something else. I was in the same space and my heart was the same, but I was still coming up short. I was still suffering from the same things that I was running away from. I was in the midst of my personal training career and I had 2 clients that actively approached me in a very friendly manner and brought up the church Westwood. And I immediately said no. At that time in my life, I was extremely hesitant about my faith and letting God back in, and I wasn't ready for that. In August of 2016, I had just finished with my last personal training client and I went out for my nightly run. It was something I did 5 nights a week. It was a good thing for me. And I had had a really rough day. And I found myself maybe a half a mile in and I was sitting next to the lake and I was sobbing. I just wanted to feel okay again, and I wanted to really live again, and not just in my sorrow and in my grief with a fake smile. I really wanted to live, and I knew that to do that I needed to invite Jesus back into my life. Making fleece tie blankets is something I've been doing for about 9 years now. It's my way of volunteering and giving back to kids in need, and I found myself with no place to give them in the fall of 2016, and that's when my clients recommended that I get connected with Westwood. So I reached out and they invited me to come in and drop off my blankets. The day that I drove up to Westwood, I was shaking. I was nervous, a little afraid to be honest with you, and I'd never seen a church of its size before. I parked my car, I took a deep breath, and I opened my trunk so I could start bringing blankets in. I walked in and I heard music. I walked over to the Prairie Side room door and I stood there and I found myself weeping. The moment I heard that music, it was like I had felt a calmness in my heart that I hadn't felt in almost 2 years since my dad had died. It was a moment of happiness and joy, and I felt like I was home. My clients inviting me to Westwood was probably one of the most courageous things that I had experienced after my dad's death, because they didn't quit. Their love for Jesus was so strong that they continued to bring it up in conversation and make it a comfort for me. They didn't push. They spoke freely on how much they loved Jesus and how much they loved Westwood and the home that they felt there. It gave me a chance to walk into something that changed my life. I feel truly that I've lived more in the last 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years with Jesus than I've lived in the rest of my life. And I want people to be able to experience the same thing.